Hi everyone, it's Mo Jackson in the lab today looking at 3 new controllers from Novation. These are part of the Launch range. You can tell the Launch range because they've all got this rubberized orange back on there. They are all portable, they're all iOS compatible for your iPad, so you can use them with Novation's apps and all other Core Midi apps on the iPad as well. And you know, lots of different functions across this 3. So what I'm going to do is just show them working with the iPad apps, and then we'll take a look at each one individually. Okay, now I'm going to start off by showing you a couple of these in conjunction with the Launchpad and Launchkey apps from Novation on the iPad. Now I've got my iPad 2 set up here. I've got the LaunchPad Mini and the Launchkey Mini both hooked up to a Belkin powered USB hub, and it does need to be a powered hub for the iOS stuff if you're going to use 2 of them at once. And then I've got my camera connection kit, the USB from the USB hub in there, and what I'm going to do is just connect that in there. And they'll go out of their like screensaver kind of mode and we get ready to roll. So I'm going to load up the Launchpad app first of all, and you should see these things come to life. Now the actual Launchpad and Launchkey apps are free on iOS, so you can just download them for your iPad at no charge. There are some sort of extra, you know, packs that you can get, and there's one particular thing that you definitely will want to invest in, but I'll get to that in a minute. So you can see they've both just come to life completely and we're ready to roll. So this is just reflecting what's on there. Now in here you go basically into the push the home button there, and you can select the different sort of types of sessions that they've already put together for you. So we're going to start, we'll just go to the house one and we'll open that up like so. And now that's ready to roll, and what you'll notice is these pads on here are the same as these pads over here, just there's less of them so you have to scroll through, but it still works pretty much the same. So we'll just kick off with some drums like so, and what you can do, it's a bit like Ableton Live session view, so you can actually play one from each column at a time, but you can play any combination across, and you can play as many of these at once as you like. So we can load up, and it's all quantized. You can see again they're changing colour on the Launchkey Mini to reflect that. And you can have loops in there. You've got also one shots and re-triggers as well. What we can do, we can see if I just move these over to the 3rd row down, yeah, you can see if I just go down like so, there you go, that's now on the 3rd row, you can see those reflected there. So this one will do all of the pad stuff in the Launchpad app for you as well. You don't need the Launchpad Mini. I just think the Launchpad Mini is a really cool bit of kit. Spoiler alert now, this is my favourite out of the 3. I love this Launchpad Mini, I think it's amazing. So there we go, that's your sort of basic functions. You've then got effects at the bottom. That can be accessed on here as well. Just hit these through, so there you go on that one. You've got the red there. You've got like auto filters, all that sort of thing. You can see again, they're both just reflecting together. So why would you want the 2 of these connected up? Well, there you go. That's because what you can also do, leave that one running, is have the Launchkey app open as well. And then we can see we're still playing with the launch. There we go. I'm no keyboard player, I'll warn you now. So I can still use the Launchpad. Whilst I'm playing in Launchkey. So if you are an accomplished keyboard player, you can play some keys whilst you're still dropping in all your beats, and these 2 apps are synchronized BPM wise together, so we can open up there. There we go. Now it's now synced, you can see, to the bar in Launchpad, sync locked Launchpad app, so they just work seamlessly together. And because you've got background audio, let's go back in. Now we're back to this one again, and this is back to controlling the Launchpad app. So really, really seamless. So even if you haven't got the actual Launchpad, then you've got the Launchkey Mini there. You can control both these apps with just this one here. So if you're really looking for that all-in-one, then the Launchkey Mini is the way to go. Launch Control does a similar sort of thing. It will do the pads, the actual performance pads, it will do there, up and down. And you've got the levels, so you've got the filters and the volume, because each one's got a filter on here as well. I'm just going to go back into the Launchkey app. Stop my keys running. There we go. We can get back to the actual Launchpad app itself, because there's some other stuff to look at here. Now these buttons down here control different modes. So we've got the filter mode, and I'll just go to reflect that on the screen. You can see there it's reflected in the lights. And we go into that one on here. We're now changing the filter with those knobs on the Launchkey. So you can see that, yeah, this one really is the all-in-one. If you're looking for your portable music making, this is definitely the way to go. But we'll just come out of that now. So that's your, and this works kind of like the original Launchpad, again, did with Ableton. So you don't need physical faders there, because you've got these virtual faders which just do the same job basically within the app. So you can control your filter, you can control the volume of each one as well. So we'll go into the volume tab, there we go, and we can see again these levels are reflected on here. And we'll go through, and that's the volume on that one as well. So really just seamless integration, working really well. And as I say, I've got two of these running on the same powered USB hub into this crusty old iPad 2, just working really, really smoothly. So, you know, from this point of view, this is a great little mobile workstation, if you like. And what's it, you know, because the thing with this app, originally it only had these built-in sounds, that's all you could do. Well, now we've got a new option in the new version which has improved it even further. So let's just edit this slightly. Let's add in some files. So what we can do now, this is the new function, go to My Files. Got imported files there, so I can import my own. And how do we do that? We go do that via Dropbox. So I've got a Dropbox set up. When you set it up through this app, it puts a folder in your Dropbox, and you can set folders within that with different BPM or different loop length names. And what we've got there, so these are some Crafty Cuts loops that I've got, the free Loop Master samples that come with this, with all of these really, basically you get them all. And I'm just going to select them up, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to download them into my setup. Just going to come out of there, and I'm still playing while this is all going on, so I'm still running, but now I've got my imported ones there, importing 103. There we go, you can see it's loading them all in, and there you go, I've now got my loops imported into this. So let's click on that one, and that's now loaded into there. And I can change whether it's a loop or one shot or re-trigger mode. I can set the quantizing it goes to. And that is my Crafty Cuts loop. So if you are working with a full-on DAW, like Ableton Live or Logic or anything, you can bounce stems out of it really easily. And Novation have got their own video showing you how to do this, but you can totally load up this thing with your own samples. You could put an entire track in there that you've made and broken down into component parts. So we're talking about something now that is really a proper mobile workstation. Really, really works well. And again, all just working. So we'll come out of the edit mode. All the effects working. Just really, really loving it, really. It's so great. And also then we'll just come out of this, right, let's just turn these off. And because it's all quantized, nothing's ever going to go out of time, it's all going to work beautifully. So for a live performance kind of piece as well, really, really good. Live remixing, if you've got stuff broken into stems, you enter remix competitions and stuff like that, load it all into this. You don't need a full computer setup at all, you can just do the whole thing from within this app. So absolutely just fantastic. Hit that effects button there as well, that'll show you all the effects that you've actually got on offer. So really, really impressed with those two working together. And the iOS fun doesn't end there. Now, just to give you an example, these are obviously, because they are using Apple's Core Midi within the iOS ecosystem, we can run other apps with them as well. So let's just open, what's that, the good old classic Animoog, for example. One of the first and still one of the best iPad synths. So there we go. Now, here's the question. Will this work? Yes, it will, because what we're going to do is go into our MIDI. We've got the MIDI input, and we've got the LK Mini. Let's see which one it is. There we go. And there we go. So this will work with GarageBand, it'll work with Arturia, any of the synths or anything that you've actually got on your iPad that support MIDI input. These will work with as well, and we can map CC. So let's say I want to map the frequency of my filter, so I'm going to hit that and I'm going to move this one. There we go, nice and simple mapping. There we go, turn that mapping off. Now you can see that is moving on the screen very happily, so I can, let's just turn the resonance up there. And I can move that with that knob there. So fully MIDI mappable within your iOS apps as well, which is really, really sweet. Okay, so I'm going to look at each of these three individually then, and the first one I'm going to look at is the launch control. Now this might at first glance seem like the most uninspired of the three. You know, it's basically 8 pads and 16 knobs there. And you're thinking, well, that's not going to give me a massive amount of control. Well, the beauty of this, as well as being able to have full control of the iOS apps from Novation, this one will also work as a really, really good supplement to the Launchpad S and the Launchpad Mini. So this gives you that extra layer of control in terms of having the knobs on there to control much more granularly things like, you know, volumes and filters and EQs and that sort of thing, especially within Ableton Live. You know, Launchpad and this is going to be a really powerful combination working together. So that's kind of where this one's coming from. It's a little bit more of a multi-function machine in terms of you've just got these kind of wide open as to what you can do with it. It has all the user templates and the factory templates all built in for Ableton, and if you connect this up with the Launchpad, it's just going to synchronize really, really well. It's got a full-size USB-B port on there, and it's nice profile in terms of the actual knobs themselves. They are nice and high. If you're going to, you know, devote a controller basically to just knobs, then what you really want is decent tall ones that you can actually get a good grip on and get your fingers around nicely, and this will do that job for you. Underneath, as with all of these launch devices, you've got this kind of orange rubberized finish, so you don't need feet or anything, but it does give you a nice sort of grippy feel on the desk or whatever you're going to place that on. So all in all, yeah, really, really useful. If you've got a particular need for this type of control alongside any other, you know, pad controller or anything like that, then the launch control will work really nicely for you. We move on then to the Launchkey Mini. Now this is really the kind of jack of all trades version of the launch range. This one is really, really compact. You know, you can see by the size of my hands there, it's tiny. It's got a 25 key kind of mini keyboard, so you've got proper keys on there. You know, they're not weighted studio style keys or anything like that, but for throwing in bass lines and chords and so on the move, it's going to be absolutely perfect for you. Again, it all maps just straight away to Ableton Live and to FL Studio as well. You can map it to whatever else you want, and you've got the 16 pads up there. All the pads on these launch devices do feel really good. They're nice and sort of firm, they're not too squishy, and they're very responsive to the touch. You've got octave buttons, you've got a set of 8 knobs up there. These are the low profile, really short knobs, which keeps the profile of the actual unit itself down and keeps it small. So really easy to throw in a bag with you and take out and about wherever you're going, whether you're hooking up to an iPad or to a laptop. It's got a micro USB connection. Again, it's got the orange rubberized base on there as well. So really, yeah, this is the go-to solution. If you want to pick up one of these to add to your music making life, whether that be sitting it on a desk or throwing it in a backpack, then the Launchkey Mini is probably the one to look at. And finally then, we're going to take a look at the LaunchPad Mini. Now, I kind of hinted at this earlier in the video. This is my favourite of these three. I actually got a little play with this one at the BPM show down in Birmingham a little while back, and I just fell in love with it. It's just so cute and small. You've got micro USB again on the side, right angle jack, and just pull that out of there. And again, we've got the rubberized base on there, but it's just really, it's going to go out of focus, but I don't care. Look at that, it's so thin and small. It's smaller than my iPad. It's not much bigger than an iPad Mini, and so that means you can just carry this thing anywhere. You know, if you had big enough cargo trousers with a big enough pocket, you could probably throw this in your pocket. You know, it's that small and compact, but you've still got really nice feeling pads on there. 64 main pads plus 2 rows of 8 around the outside. Obviously it's going to work great with Ableton in exactly the same way as the original Launchpad and the Launchpad S, but also it will map to anything. I'm immediately thinking, right, I can map, let's say I'm going to map 16 of those, I'm going to map them to my presets window in Mix Emergency, the video software. You know, I can use it for cue points, I can use it for loops and so on in Serato DJ or Tractor. It's just a really, really versatile bit of kit. Yes, it's just buttons, but ultimately, you know, it's just pads, it's not knobs and faders and that sort of thing. But there's so much potential for this when you've got it in such a small form factor, and that's the key to this. It's so portable. So yeah, I have fallen in love with it. I think it's super cute, super good, and I'm actually going to pick one of these up to take out to my gigs and just have in my bag as kind of a go-to controller for all manner of uses. So yeah, there's the LaunchPad Mini. Absolutely in love with it. So there we have it then, 3 very different controllers from Novation designed to enhance your music making on your PC, your Mac, or on your iPad as well. They are very, very good value really, £79 each here in the UK. You know, it's almost to the point where you could get a combo of 2 of them, say, quite happily, and you know, you've got a really great setup ready to go. It's going to cover a lot of eventualities. So not the cheapest in the market, but it's worth paying that little bit extra for a little bit of quality. I've had some bad experiences with some really cheap MIDI controllers in the past that just didn't last. You know, you want something that's going to last you a little while, and these will definitely be with you for quite some time, I think. Definitely in love with the LaunchPad Mini. Definitely going to pick one of those up to keep in my bag, but the other 2 as well, depending on your needs as a music maker, as a DJ, as a VJ, whatever you're doing, you know, I'm sure they're going to be met by one of these. So definitely check them out. They're in stores now, and if you dig this video, if you're into this, please do check out my channel and subscribe. It's Mojax VDJ on YouTube. I've got lots of equipment walkthroughs and tips and tricks and all kinds of things there. So thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.